Alright, hi, good day everyone. So today we are going to do section 8, which is geometry and trigonometry, and we'll do from 2025. We'll try to do till 2017, but if time does not permit, we'll go till 2020. Right?
Yes, we section 8.
Okay, so in geometry and trigonometry, the questions that we'll be doing is number 53 to 60. Right, so as I was saying, we have May, June 2025, paper 1, section 8, that's 53 to 60. Okay, let's do the first one. So the first question is, item 53 refers to the following diagram of a transformation. What transformation maps PQR onto image PQR? This is clearly a reflection, so the answer would be B. The object has been inverted to form an image. Right, next one, 54. In which of the following polygons is the sum of the interior angles twice the sum of the exterior angles? So now we know that the sum of exterior angles, this is just a rule, right? Exterior angles is always 360. So they want to know the sum of interior angles is twice the sum of the exterior angles. So that means that your sum of your interior angles is equals to 2 times 360. Right? That would be 720, I believe, 720. Now, what do we know? Now, this is something that you could have learned. I gave you guys a table. However, I gave you guys this formula. The sum of interior angles is 180 by n minus 2 is equals to 720. So that's 180n minus 180 by 2 is 360 is equals to 720. So 180n is equals to 720 plus 360. Right? 720 plus 360 is equal to 180n is equals to 1080. So n would be 1080 divided by 180, and you will get 18 into 18, 118 into 108 is 6. Right? A 6-sided shape is a hexagon. So the answer is B. Right? Or you could have learned that table and you would get the answer. You would know that what sum of interior angles is 720. It's your 6 angles. Right? Or instead of doing all this, because it's a lot of working, what you could have done is, you know that triangle n is equals to 3, for hexagon n is equals to 6, for pentagon n is equals to 5, a quadrilateral n is equal to 4. And you could have placed it in this formula. So when n is equals to 3, the sum of interior angles is 180. That's not what we're looking for. When n is equals to 6, it will be 180 by 4, which is 720. So you know that is the answer. So you could have used the answer again and the process that we know to make sure that that is your answer. Alright? Item 55 refers to the following diagram, which shows the translation of a triangle ABC to image ABC. Now this is a translation, right? In the diagram, the translation by which ABC is mapped onto image ABC. So we go here, we're going from here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's negative 5 on the x-axis. And we're going up, so it's positive 1, 2, 3. So it's negative 5 here, positive 3 here. So that would be, A would be your answer. And that's how you would do this question. Right? The point P, 2, negative 3 is rotated about the origin in an angle of 90 degrees in an anti-clockwise direction. What are the coordinates of image P? So the first thing you need to know is the 2 by 2 matrix for 90 degrees anti-clockwise. Once you know that, you take that value and multiply it by 2 on top, negative 3 at the bottom, and the answer you'll get would be the coordinates of your image. So what we should know is the 2 by 2 matrix has 90 degrees anti-clockwise is also known as 270 degrees clockwise. So once you know that, you should be good. So 90 degrees counterclockwise or anti-clockwise is 0, negative 1, 1, 0. You take that and multiply by 2, negative 3, and you will get your answer. So it is row by column, so it is 0 by 2 plus negative 1 by 3, negative 3, sorry, and then 1 by 2 plus 0 by negative 3. So this would be positive 3 and this would be 2. So it is 3 on top, 2 at the bottom, so the answer is A. Right? Item 57 refers to the following diagram of a right angle. In the right angle, I saw a triangle above. Which of the trigonometric ratios is 4/8? So if this is your hypotenuse, so you want something over your hypotenuse. So if it is cos x, we know it is so ka toa. This is opposite over hypotenuse, and this is adjacent over hypotenuse. Will not be tan because we have 8 here. So this will be out of the question, right? If we're using x, right? If we use this x here, this becomes the opposite. So sine x is equals to 4/8. Do we have sine x there? Yes, so that will be the answer. If you use cos x, right? Cos is your adjacent. This BA is your adjacent. We don't have that. And well, tan is out. So the answer is sine x would be your answer for 57, or D, right? Item 58 refers to the diagram, the following diagram of enlargement. We have ABC to image ABC. What is the scale factor? Now, it is your scale factor is K is your image over your object. You take, like BC is 2 units, that's over your image over your object, which is 1, 2 over 1 is 2, so the answer is C. A plane is flying in a direction of 45 degrees and changes its course in a clockwise direction to 135. So it's going 45 and then it goes to 135. At what angle did the plane turn? That's 135 minus 45, which I believe is 90 degrees, so the answer would be B. Item 60 refers to the following diagram of the building. The surveyor sets up his instruments 12 meters from the foot of the building and records an angle of elevation. An estimate height of the building would be, so it is 1.6, you're adding 1.6 to this height here. Now if you want that height, this would be your opposite, and we know from here to here is 12, right, which is your adjacent. So this would be your adjacent is 12, your opposite is what you're trying to find out, and the final answer would be your opposite plus 1.6, right? And theta is equals to 60. So if it's adjacent and opposite, we put so ka toa, which is tan. So tan 60 is equals to opposite over adjacent, which is 12. We carry this across, so your opposite would be 12 tan 60, right? And then you take this value and add it to 1.6. So it'll be 1.6 plus 12 tan 60. Which one is 1.6 plus 12 tan, sorry, it's not 60, it's 40, my bad. Tan 40, 12 tan 40, it would be B. So B is your answer for number 60. Right, and that is the end of May, June 2025. Alright, so now we will begin with January 2020. Paper 1, section 8, number 53 to 60. Let's look at this. Item 53 refers to the following diagram of a circle with its center O, the angle POQ is 122. What is the value of y? Because they are on the same, you don't need to remember the reasoning, but you do need to remember if they are on the same chord and one is at the center and one is at the circle, this here would be the one at the center divided by 2. So that would be 61. So the answer is C. 54 refers to the following diagram. If we can see it, it's a Z angle, and Z angles or alternate angles are equal. So these are equal. X and Y is equal. Right, this one here, item 55 refers to the following diagram, which shows triangle ABC to form its image ABC and the second image ABC. After triangle ABC undergoes a composite double transformation, what is the sequence? So it goes from ABC to image ABC. That is a reflection. So the first one is a reflection, and then after reflection is a slide or translation. That would be A. The reflection is at, to find the line for your reflective line, you count the distance from your object to your image. 1, 2, 3, 4, then divide by 2, so you know that your mirror line is right here. That's x is equals to 1 is here. So that's why x is equals to 1, and the translation is it goes backwards 1, 2, 3, and then goes downward 1, 2, 3, 4. So you know it is negative 3, negative 4. In each of the following diagrams, A is the image of A. A image is the, which of the diagrams shows a reflection along the x-axis? So it would be D because it's inverted and it's on the x-axis itself. In triangle ABC, angle A is equals to x and angle B is equals to 2x. What is the size of angle C? If it's a triangle, that means x plus 2x plus C is equals to 180. So that would be C is equals to 180 minus x plus 2x is 3x. So we know that the answer is A for this one. Item 58 refers to the following diagram, which shows the angle of elevation of a point Z from x. So from x we're going to Z, right? The angle of elevation of point Z from x is 35. If x from Z is 15, then the height is what? So they want to know the opposite. This is the opposite because this is a right angle. This is the angle, and the side opposite, which is ZY, is your opposite, and this is your hypotenuse. So if we have your side hypotenuse, your theta, so hypotenuse is equals to 15, opposite is equals to ZY, theta is equals to 35. You're going to use SOHCAHTOA. Which one has opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. So it'll be sine 35 is equals to opposite ZY over 15. Carry this across. So ZY is equals to 15 sine 35. So that would be 15 sine 35. We have that as D. So the answer is C, 15 sine 35. Let's look at this one. Item 59 refers to the following pair of similar triangles. Similar triangles means they have the same angle, but they are scale factors of each other. So if 3 multiplied by something is going to give you x, right? Sorry, 3 multiplied by something is going to give you 6. So 3 multiplied by 2. So we know our scale factor is 2. So they want to know MO. So we know MO multiplied by 2 is going to give you 7. So MO is going to be 7 divided by 2, which is 3.5. So the answer is B. Number 60. Under the translation negative 2, 3, the image is, so we know it is your object plus your translation to give you your image. So what do we know? Your object is, oh, we don't know what the object is. Let's put x and this is y, right? Your translation is negative 2, 3 to give you negative 5, 3. So x minus 2 is equals to negative 5. Negative 5 plus 2. X is equals to 3. And then y plus 3 is equals to 3. So this one would be, I read this question incorrectly. First, let's erase all of this. Let's just put this. Can't really put that anyway. Alright. So first, let's do the question. They said the image of negative 5, 3. So we know that they want to know what is your image. Right? The image of negative 5, 3. So this here is your object. So we know it's your object plus your translation is going to give you an image. So it is negative 5, 3 plus negative 2, 3 is going to be negative 5 plus negative 3 is negative 7. 3 plus 3 is 6. So they want the image, which is D. Right, and that is the end of June 2025. Not May, June. January 2025. Let's look at. Alright, and that is the end of January 2025. Let's look at May, June 2024. If the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is 4 right angles, and the polygon is 4 right angles means 4 by 90, which is 360. So the answer is a quadrilateral. Right. Item 54 refers to the following diagram of a right angle triangle. In the right angle triangle above, which of the trigonometric ratio is 4/8? We did this question. The answer was sine x, right? But let's look at it. Sine x is equal to your opposite, which is 4 over your hypotenuse, which is 8. So the answer would be E.
Sorry.
Right, next one, item 55 refers to the following diagram of an isosceles triangle, meaning the two base angles are equal. What is x? That is the 30 plus x will give you 180. So the difference between 180 and 30 is 60, is 120. So the answer is C. This one here, a repeated question. We know this was to go from 3 to 6, you multiply by 2. So MO, I believe the answer was 3.5, was MO multiplied by 2 is 7, which is 3.5 multiplied by 2 is in fact 7. In the diagram, translation of AB is mapped onto image AB. So we go from 2.5 to 4.6. So remember this formula, your object plus your translation is equals to your image. So if I am given, they want the translation, right? My translation is going to be my image, subtract my object. What is my image? 4 on top, 6 at the bottom, minus my object, 2, 5. 4 minus 2 is 2, 6 minus 5 is 3. 6 minus 5 is 1. So it'll be 2, 1, which is E. Alright, and that's how you would do this question. Number 58, scale factor. We know it is your scale factor. Again, this is a repeated question. The answer is 2. Is your image 1, 2, image over your object. If your image is 1, 2, 3, 4, it is 4 over the corresponding object. 1, 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So you know the answer for D is 2. This one here, if you understand, this should also be 30 because it is 2 parallel lines. This line here and this line here is parallel. This angle here is 90, so this one would have been 60. So 60 plus 30 is 90. 90 and 90 is 180. So you know the angle that I have there is correct. Right? They said if F is 25 meters from E, then the distance of G to F is, so they're basically asking you to find out, it depends on what you want to use. If you want to use 30, which this the only one I'm seeing with 60 is this one. So let's use, if theta is 30, your opposite is equals to 25, and you want to find your adjacent. You put so, ka, toa. Which one has opposite and adjacent? Tan. So it'll be tan 30 is equals to your opposite, which is 25, over your adjacent, which is FG. If you want to find FG, it is going to be FG tan 30 is equals to 25. carry this across as FG is going to be 25 divided by tan 30. 25 divided by tan 30, do we have that? Yes, that's E. Alright, and that's how you would do number 59. Number 60, this was a repeated question. I believe it was 12 tan 40 plus 1.6, but let's check it out. We know the distance from here to here is your opposite. Alright, and theta is equals to 40, and then adjacent is equals to 12. Right, so you use tan 40 is equals to your opposite, which is what we're trying to find out, over your adjacent, which is 12. Carry this across. Your opposite is equals to 12 tan 40, and then it will be 12 tan 40 plus 1.6, and that would be E. And that is the end of May, June 2024. Let's look at January 2024. This was a repeated question. I believe the answer was 2-1. Yeah, B. Right, this one here was a repeated question as well. These are equal. Although they didn't use PQ, they use X and Y. Right? This one here, ship is sailing 8. So north is always this direction, okay? So if this is north, this is going to be south, and it's always west and east. That is your 4 cardinal points, right? So a ship from point A to B is sailing 8 kilometers east. So from A to B is 8 kilometers. Alright, so it's not this one. So it's either C, D, and E, right? And it's starting from E. So if it's starting from E, it cannot be B. Actually, no. Yeah, because this one starts from B, so it can't be this one. Then it sailed 6 kilometers due north, which is upwards. This one is going downwards, so it can't be this one, so it has to be C. Right? In a polygon, X is equal, angle A is equals to X. Angle A, angle B are supplementary, which means when I add up X degrees plus B, it's going to give me 180. Right? So B is going to be 180 minus X. So it's D is the answer. Item 57 refers to the following diagram. X is equals to Y. If that line X is equals to Y is rotated anti-clockwise about 90, so we know it will end up here. This is 90 degrees, right? This here is equal to Y is equals to negative X. So A would be your answer. Item 58 refers to the following diagram, which shows a triangle within a circle. The triangle LM and MN are equal. The angle at the center is 0. What is the size of angle E? So we should know that this here, because it is your diameter, this here is a 90 degrees. Right? So we have two sets of E's because this is equal. So 2A plus 90 is equals to 180. So 2A is equals to 180 minus 90. So 2A is equals to 90. So A would be 90 divided by 2, which is 45. So the answer is B for this one. Item 59 refers to the following diagram, which shows the angle of depression for point X from Z. Right? So if this is 35, this is going to be 35. Right? If Y is 12 meters from right, we did something like this, then the base, if Y is 12 meters from Z, then the base XY, that's the adjacent, the adjacent, right? So your opposite is 12. We're using this angle 35, right? Your opposite is 12. They want to find your adjacent, which is equals to XY, and your theta is equals to 35, right? Opposite over adjacent, that's tan. So tan 35 is equals to 12 over X. So Toa, right? If we put this, there's no way, so we can't use this angle 35. We will have to use this angle here, which is 90 minus 35, which I believe would be 55. Right? The only one that has 55 is D, but let's check it out. So we know your theta is 55. We want your opposite, which is xy, and we have the adjacent is equal to 12. Right? So that's tan 55 is equal to your opposite, xy over 12. Carry that across. So xy is equal to 12 tan 55. So the answer is D. Right? So we worked out for 35 when we were using this angle as 35, and we saw that xy would have come up to 12 divided by tan 35. Would have gotten that. That is not here, so you know for a fact that we are not using angle 35. So you'll have to use the next one, which is 55. Right? Item 60 refers. This is a repeated question. The answer was sine x. Right? And that is the end of January 2024. Let's look at May, June 2023. 53 to 60. This is a repeated question. The transformation is a reflection. In which of the following polygon does the sum of interior angle equal to the sum of interior angles? The sum of exterior angle, is always 360. The one with the sum of interior angles as being equal to 360 would be a quadrilateral, which is D. Right? This one here. So if this rotates, it rotates 90 degrees. Right? This is 90. This would be x is equals to y. So that is this one, D. Right? This one is a repeated question, but we'll do...
What the x?
Yeah, y is equals to x, so x is equals to y. Yeah, same thing. Alright, this one here is a repeated question. I believe it was 5 units minus 5 and 3 on top, which was A, but let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3. So you know it was negative 5, 3. Right, this one here, item 57 refers to the following right angle triangle ABC. In the triangle BAC it is 30 and AB is 40 centimeters. Calculate the length of AC. So we have your hypotenuse. This here will now be your adjacent. So adjacent is AC. Your hypotenuse is 40. Theta is 30. So we are going to use adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's cos. Right? So cos 30 is equal to adjacent, which is AC over 40. Carry this across. So AC would be 40 cos 30. Do we have that? We do not. So therefore, we have to use this angle here, which would have been 180 minus 90 plus 30, which I believe would be 60, right? Because this is 60, now theta is equals to 60. AC becomes your opposite. Your opposite is AC, and your hypotenuse is 40. So we'll be using sine. Sine 60 is equals to AC over 40. Carry this across, it'll be 40 sine 60 is equals to AC. 40 sine 60, that is A. Right? So you see how we worked it out using this angle. We saw that there's no answer like 40 cos 30, so we went to the alternative using X angle. Right? Then we have this one. This is a repeated question. C. You take this 1, 2, 3, 4 and then divided by 2. That's how we get. So you take an image divided by an object. The length of an image divided by the length of the object. This was a repeated question. It was 1 to the 5 minus 45, which is B. If the angle P formed by two angles is an isosceles and PQR. If angle P formed by two equal sides in isosceles PQR, angle P is X. What is the size of angle Q and R? So this is an isosceles, right? Excuse me. This is an isosceles if angle P is formed by equal sides of an isosceles. So angle P, this is angle P here. So this is X, right? So we have P, Q, R. Right? So we know these two are equal. So it'll be X plus 2A, I'm calling this A, right? Is equal to 180. So 2A would be 180 minus X. Carry this across. A is going to be 180 minus X all over 2. Let's see. And that is the end of May, June 2023. Let's look at January 2023. This is not a repeated question. Item 53 refers to the following diagram of a circle. If O is the center, then Y is. So we know that they are found the one at there's an angle at the center and an angle at the circumference produced by the same chord. So this would be 2x the size of the one at circumference, 50 times 2, which is equals to 100. So D is the answer. This one here, X is equals to Y. Repeated question. This one here, item 55 refers to the following diagram, which shows WXYZ and its image WXYZ. And the second image WXYZ after it undergoes a composite or double transformation. What is the sequence of transformation? So this is WXYZ and it goes here. But if you look at this, it's although it looks the same, we can see W is on this side and W is on this side. If it was a translation, W would have been here. But because it's not a translation, we can have to know that this is a reflection along your y-axis, right? And then from this, it goes to this, which is a dilation. So a translation, no. A reflection along the y-axis, right? And then enlargement center at the origin with a scale factor of 1/2. This would be the answer. Although you don't even know if the scale factor is 1/2 and if the center of enlargement is, well, you could do all that, right? Your center of enlargement is 0, 0. The others makes no sense. Hold on. No, this is not a rotation. Right? So this B would be your answer. 56 is a repeated question. Reflection along the x-axis, it would be D. This one is a repeated question. X plus 2x was 3x. 3x plus angle C is 180. So C was 180 minus 3x. Right, this is a repeated question, possibly. We'll see what the angle of depression of point X from Z is 35. So therefore this is also 35, and this angle here is 90 minus 35, which is equals to 55. Right, let's just do that one time. So first off, if this is 12 and they want ZY, ZY, or YZ, however you want to call it, right? If we're using angle 35, this is the opposite. If we're using angle 35, this is your adjacent. So theta is equals to 35. Your adjacent is equals to 12. Your opposite is what you're trying to find out, which is ZY. This will be so ka. Which one has opposite and adjacent? Tan. So we know tan 35 is equal to your opposite ZY over 12. If you carry this across, ZY is going to be 12 tan 35. Do we have 12 tan 35? Yes, so the answer is D. Alright, this question here, 4 over 8, I believe was sine x. Yeah, sine x is opposite, which is 4 over 8, yeah. Under translation, negative 2, 3, the image of negative 5, 3. We did this already a moment ago. I think it was negative 7, 6. But we should know that is your object plus your translation is giving you your image. Your object was negative 5, 3 plus negative 2, 3 would give you an image. Negative 5 plus negative 2 is negative 7. 3 plus 3 is 6. So it's negative 7, 6. And that is the end of January 2023. Yeah, January 2023. Let's look at May, June 2022.
2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022. 2022
If the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is 4 right angles, that is a quadrilateral. This here is a reflection. This is 30, this is 30, so x would be 180 minus 60, which is a repeated question, which is 120. This one here, the length of MO, this is a repeated question, which is 3.5. You take 7 and you multiply by a scale factor of, sorry, you take 3.5 multiply by a scale factor of 2, you'll get 7. Right, this one here, no, this is not. The image of P, so P is 1, 2. Under translation, negative 5, negative 4. Sorry, what nonsense am I putting here? Let's read that question back. The image of P, 1, 2, under translation is image P 5, 4. So this is your object plus your translation of x, y to give you an image of negative 5, negative 4. So 1 plus x is negative 5. X would be negative 5 minus 1, which is negative 6. Right? 2 plus y is negative 4, so y is negative 4 minus 2. Y is equals to negative 6. So the answer would be A. This is a repeated question. To go from 45 to 135, we simply subtract the 2 and we saw that is 90 degrees. This is a repeated question. I believe it was 1.6 plus 12 tan 40, right? This one here is not a repeated question, but it's a similar question, right? The diagram above shows that the angle of depression is 30. So this is 30. And if this is 30, 90, this is 90, this is 39, 10, 11, 12, that's 120, and then 180 minus 120 is 60. So this is 60 degrees, right? Let's see. They want to know the height of ZY. So if I'm using theta is equals to 30, then your adjacent would be 10, and your opposite would be ZY. We put so, ka, toa. Which one has opposite and adjacent? Tan. So tan 30 is equals to ZY over 10. So ZY would be 10 tan 30. Do we have 10 tan 30? Yes. So A is your answer. And that would be the end of May, June 2022. Let's look at January 2022. This was a repeated question. I believe we went 2-1. Right? We said 4, 6, the image, subtract your object, 2, 5 to give you a translation, which was 2 and 1. So it is your image, subtract your object to get your translation. Right? This question, they're equal. Repeated, but they use different letters. This is a repeated question. I believe that is C, but let's check and see. A shale shipped 8 kilometers due east from A to B, and then from B you went to point C, which is 6 kilometers north, right? That's upward. So the answer is C. Number 53, repeated question. We saw that this was 50 times 2 because they are on the same arc. It's doubled, which is 100. This one here, line XY was rotated anti-clockwise, so it'll be here, which is x minus y is equals to minus x. Right? We did this one already. It would have been 180 minus 3x to give you an angle C. This one here was done, but again, guys, you always need to check it back. That's 35. And this one here is 90 minus 35, which is 5, and then 55, I believe. So this here is 55. So using theta is equals to 35, your adjacent is equals to 12, and you want to find out the height of ZY, which is your opposite. It'll be so ka toa. Adjacent the opposite tan. So tan 35 is equals to the opposite, which is what we're trying to find out, the length of over adjacent is 12, carry this across, that's 12 tan 35, 12 tan 35, so the answer is C. This one here we already did it, is sine x, and that is the end of January 2022. Let's look at May, June 2021. Repeated question, reflection. In the following polygons, does the sum of the measure of the interior angles is equals to the exterior? That is your quadrilateral. The exterior is always 360. Right? This one here, anti-clockwise, so it's like this. Is 90 degrees, is y is equals to x. It's going backwards from y is equals to negative x. This one here, repeated question, I believe it was 2 on top and 1 at the bottom. That's 56. This one here, calculate BC. So BC, if we're using 30, theta is equals to 30, hypotenuse is equal to 40, and then your opposite is equals to BC. So opposite over hypotenuse is sine. So sine 30 is equals to BC over 40. You carry this across, so BC is equals to 40 plus, no, multiply by sine 30. 40 sine 30, yes, that's A, and that's the answer. This one here, repeated question, scale factor is 2. This one here, repeated question, it moved 90 degrees. This one here was a repeated question, that's x plus 2x plus r is equals to the triangle. So r would be 3x, 180 minus 3x, which is D. And that is the end of May, June 2021. Let's look at January 2021. Repeated question, this was 50 times 2, which is 100. This one here, x and y are equal. This one here, we did this is a reflection along the y-axis and then enlargement of a half. Repeated question, reflection on the x-axis, that's D. Repeated question, x plus 2x plus c is equals to 180. So c would be 180 minus 2x, 3x, sorry. This one here, that means this is 35. This here would be 55. So it depends on what angle you're using. They want to know zy, right? So yz is the opposite. Adjacent is equals to 12. Theta is equals to 35. So therefore, opposite of adjacent, that is so right? So that's tan 35 is equals to opposite yz over 12. Carry this across. That's 12 tan 35. 12 tan 35. So it's B is the answer. Right, and that's the end of May, June. Was it May, June? No, January 2021. Let's look at January 2020. Repeated question 2-1. Repeated question, x is equal, p is equals to q. This is a repeated question. It goes 8 to the north, 8 to the east, and 6 kilometers to the north. In each of the following diagrams, OA is the image of OA. Which of the diagrams shows a reflection along the y-axis? Along the y-axis, it would be this one, C. This one here, repeated question, 180 minus 3x. This one, although it's not repeated, we can take, am I seeing lines there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2, so that's a repeated question. This is a repeated question, 3.5 would be the answer. This is a repeated question, sine x is the answer, and that is the end of January 2020. Let's look at May, June 2019. Repeated question, reflection. This one, this is 30 degrees, so that is 180 minus 60, which is 120. This is a I probably don't have the image, but hold on. X and Y most likely are equal to each other. Right? This is a repeated question. This is 3.5. Repeated question, I believe was negative 6, negative 6. That would be minus 5, minus 4. Minus 1, 2. Minus 5 minus 1 is minus 6, minus 4 minus 2 is negative 6, so the answer is A. Repeated question, scale factor is 2. Repeated question was 90 degrees. That is, repeated, I don't know if this is repeated. This is 30, if this is 30, the adjacent is 10. The opposite is y. Using tan, right? So it will be tan 30 is equals to 10. Sorry. Is that your adjacent? Yeah, 10 over yz. So this does not work out. You'll get yz is equals to tan 30 divided by 10. Right, so that does not work out because you don't have that, so you're going to have to use this angle here, which is 60 degrees. The only one that has 60 degrees is D. Right, so the answer for this one, again, is a repeated question. We have to remember closely, it would be D. That is the end of January 2019. Let's look at January 2019, paper 1, section 8. Right, they told you it rotated anti-clockwise, so now it's here. That is y is equals to x. This one here, A, B, E, this angle here, this is a straight line, so it'll be 90, 180 minus 58, and then 2 will be 120, then 5 minus 7 is 2, 122. Which of the angles are equal? Oh, that's for this one as well. B. So we know that 58, this is going to also be 58. And if this is 122, this is also going to be 122. Vertically opposite angles are equal. So B, DB, C is equals to ABE. No. C. 1 second, guys. I'm just going to take a photo and put it in the next image instead of going back and forth. Alright, so they said BDC is equals to ABE. No. So this would be incorrect. It said CBE. CBE is 50, so this is incorrect. CBE is equals to ABE. No. ABD is equals to CBD. No. BD is equals to CBE. Yeah, so it will be D is the answer. Reflection is a repeated question as here. This one here, 180 minus 3x. This one here, 3.5. Don't really need to read through the question, right? You all don't do that. Please read the question every single time, but I'm telling you, we did this already, so that's the only reason why I'm not doing it. So it goes east and then west. It would be right here. West, or it goes east and then north. This one here, is 3 minus 5 plus 2 minus 3. Hold on. The translation 2 minus 3, the image of, so that's the object plus the translation would give you your image. 3 plus 2 is 5, minus 5 minus 3 is minus 8, so the answer is C. That's the end of January 2017. Let's look at May, June 2018, right? If each exterior angle of a polygon is 60, then the polygon is, so we know 60 multiplied by some number is going to be 360. Why? Because exterior angles is always equal to 360, right? No matter what the shape. This would be 60 times 6. The only answer is C. This one here, x is equals to y. This one here is 180 minus 60, which is 120. This one here, I believe, is minus 6 minus 12, so it is negative 2, 3 plus 3. It could be wrong, because this is different. This is why you always read your question, right? So minus does the image of a point, P is negative 2, 3, plus the translation, so I added negative 2 plus 3 is 1, 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 plus 4 is 7, so that's 1, 7, so the answer is D. This one here, that is a reflection along the y-axis. This one here, repeated question. Hold on. What do I want? If the angle of ABC, if the area of ABC is 20, ABC is 20, what is the area of MNO? So this one is a little bit different, where once you deal with area of your object, you have to square your scale factor. If this is 6 and this is 3, your scale factor is key. So the area would be 20 multiplied by your scale factor, which is 2 squared. Sorry. So something is your object multiplied by 2 squared will give you an image. It is something multiplied by 5 is equal, multiplied by 4 is equal to 20, so this box is 5. Alright, this is the repeated question C. If we use a 30 and you want this one is your adjacent. If we're using this would be 60, right? This here, so adjacent is equals to 10. Theta is 30. Zy is equals to opposite. Right, so you'll use tan 30 is equals to zy opposite of adjacent. So it'll be 10 tan 30, which is E. You need to check it out. That's the end of May, June 2018. This one repeated. This would be 2, 1. This one repeated 50 times 2, which is 100. This one we go north, we go east and then north. So is this one, but always check to see is correct, right? Then this one here is a rotation of 180 degrees about the origin. E. This one here, this is 35. This is 35, this is adjacent, and they want to know the opposite. Right? So that would be adjacent and opposite. So ka 2 plus tan 35 zy over 12. So zy is equal to 12 tan 35. 12 tan 35, yes, I see. This one here, scale factor was 2. This one here, sin x. This one here, if this is 40, then this is also 40. Right, sine, hold on, yeah, that's 40. So they want to know B, D, E. So if this is 40, this here would be 180 minus 40, which is equals to 140, which is D. That is the end of January 2018. Then May, June 2017. BA, BE, that is 180 minus 58, which was 122, I believe. That was a repeated question. This one here, angle X, this is 30 as well because it's an isosceles. This would be 180 minus 60, which is 120. So C. This one here, rotates anti-clockwise. Is here x is equals to negative y. Sorry, y is equals to negative x. This is 3.5. This one here, we want BC, so this is your opposite. So theta is 30. Hypotenuse does not change, it's 40. BC is equals to your opposite. So sine, right? So sine 30 is equals to opposite, so BC over 40. This is 40 sine 30, which is E. This one here, so x would be the square root of 17 squared minus 15 squared. It was like, Miss, how did you get that? 17 squared, sorry, 15 squared plus x squared is equals to hypotenuse squared 17 squared. Right? So therefore x squared would be 17 squared minus 15 squared. So x is equal to the square root of 17 minus 15. Right? There's 289, 225, which is equal to 64. Square root of 64 is 8, so 8 is the answer. This one here, repeated question, 180 minus 3x. This one here was 1.6 plus 12 tan 40, which is D. And that's the end of May, June 2017. Yeah, let's do last one, January 2017. Repeated question, 50 times 2 is 100. Right, so it's 3 minus 5 plus 2 negative 3. 2 3s are 5, minus 5 minus 3 is negative 8. So it'll be D is the answer. This one here, ABE was 180 minus 58, which is 122. Which angles are equal? ABD and CBE, which is this one. We did this question already. I believe it was 2-1 was the answer. This one is a repeated question, 180 minus 3x. Repeated question, 3.5. Sine C. So sine C, if it's sine is so opposite over hypotenuse, the opposite is 5. The hypotenuse, the only one here would be, well, you could try probably find it out. 5 squared plus 12 squared is equal to the square root of that. That's 25 plus 144. Right, that is the square root of 9. And then 4, 5, 6, 169, the square root of 169. And so 9, so that's 13. So this is 13. So sine C would be 13 opposite over your hypotenuse. Sorry, it would be sine C would be my opposite, which is 5 over 30, which is E. This one here, how far up the wall? So you want to know the side here. Right? Item 60 refers to the following diagram, which shows a ladder 5 meters long. So this is 5. You want to know this. So this would be 5 squared is equals to 3 squared plus, I'm just going to put this as 8 here, h squared. That's 25 is equals to 9 plus 8 squared. So 25 minus 9 is equals to 8 squared. That's 16 is equals to 8 squared. So h is equals to the square root of 16, which is 4. So a is 4. And that would be your answer for this one. And that is the end of trigonometry and geometry from 2025 to 27.